or it could not. You don't know what goes on in a person's mind. But what I was thankful about was that neither one of you were hurt, because I wouldn't want to see that go that far. Um, um, I just, you had every right to hurt. You had every right to defend yourself and Black American people. And I just hope that it is a learning lesson for everybody. I'm not offended. You see, what people don't, I've learned in these 5 years that I've been in the social media space is that I am very unique. I am not an ally because I read some books. Okay. I would say rather that I'm not unique. More, my parents were unique. So although I'm not born a Black American, if you were to know my parents, you would be like, oh wow. It might be a shock to many, but I'm older than most of everybody in this room. It's just different. It's very different for me. Um, what I saw in that clip, and then he had a knife as well too. I think he had a knife. Didn't he have a knife or something like that? Did he have a knife or something in his hand? He had something.
I didn't see a knife.
Oh, or he had something. I don't know what he had. Vanguard. I don't know what he had, but if he had anything. But
I don't understand why the Pan-Africanists ignore all the stuff that was pouring out of his dumb mouth.
When it wasn't until I couldn't see.
It looked like it was something like he did have something in his hand, like something sharp in his hand. He did, though, trying to hide it, though. He did.
Yeah, I mean, look, I what I saw on the video, but what I read on that post, it was the post, and I was like, oh, now I see what was going on, because now it was all put together. And and I wrote in that piece that I sent you, I said, I know I'm going to catch bricks for this. And I actually said to you, if you found what I wrote to be offended, out of respect, I will delete it. But when I reach out to somebody, I give you my heart, because I'm really giving you what I really feel. And I do. I feel sorry for him, because clearly he looks homeless, and he may or may not know what he's doing, although he had to have known that by writing what he did, listen, he could have ran into some Latinos, and the outcome could have been far worse. You know what I mean? So that he did that made me feel like he wanted to incite something. Maybe not, but something. But he definitely has an issue, and it might be a mental issue. And that's what I think, because I could kind of see it in his eyes. You know what I mean? But you had the right to be upset. Like Van Lathan had the right to be very upset with Kanye West about that. When I saw that, it kind of reminded me of that. So
we're going to go to the hands. Mikos.
Hello, everybody. I don't know if you can hear me well. I'm in the car driving.
We can.
Okay. Want to first start out by saying thank you for letting me up, everyone. Wani, Nikki, Professor. I was just curious on how the conversation actually started. Like, what were you guys talking about? Because everybody's seeing you react to somebody, and I'm seeing somebody like being extremely disrespectful, talking about slavery, talking about slaves, like they knew what they were talking about, and right now at this time and the way we're delineating who you are, we need to speak up. So I probably would have did the same thing you did, but I'm just curious on what that conversation was before, before the video.
Well, we had a conversation about, I told my, hey, brother, you got that sign, because I remember I seen it about a month ago. I was saying, hey, brother, you got that sign, though. I said, I didn't know what lineage you was, though. I was sure about that sign. I said, why he got that sign up saying why the white man has to re-enslave the African Americans, though. And he had another sign said niggers meant to be, sorry, I said that, meant to be slaves, though. So he had two signs. That's one of the signs he had. He always comes with two different signs. He comes there. I guess somebody said he comes there like every other day, though. But I happened to catch him 3 times within the last month, though. First time I told him, hey, bro, you should take that down. I didn't know what lineage she was. I said, hey, bro, you should take that down. that don't look good though, man. You actually disrespecting our ancestors, especially during Black History Month. I said, yeah, that's unacceptable, man. You should take that down. And then he ignored me. I said, okay, I'll deal with it. Then I came across again, and I said, though, hey, brother. And then he started getting a little violent. And then there's other people watching.
Can I interrupt you real quick, Vanguard? That the sign
Wait.
said, I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I was gonna ask a question, but go ahead, honey. Go ahead.
Okay.
And then after that, he started saying disrespectful things. The second time, I say okay because it was a whole bunch of people out though, so I don't want to cause a scene like that. Then I seen him again walking on the train platform and stuff like that. So because sometimes I get on the train, sometimes I don't drive. I just get on the train sometimes though, all throughout California, all throughout the city though. So I happened to see him. He had the signs. I confront him again, follow him to the train station. I asked him a question. And then he started saying that's why Black Americans are no good. They lazy, they slaves, stuff like that. Y'all ain't gonna get no reparations. And what else he said? Yankees, y'all Yankees.
Okay,
and talk about disrespect.
I'm just a little confused now. It sounds like this is somebody that you normally see, and
that's not somebody I see. That's like the third time I've seen him though.
You seen him? And real quick, what I was trying to ask is, what did the sign say African American? Because what I'm trying to get to is that if these people don't know the difference between an African American and a Black American, I feel like there's a different way we can educate them. Maybe I'm too lenient on that, but it sounds like he didn't even know the difference, and he's trying to lump us all together. And when you said like that's not right, like I feel like, you know what I mean, maybe he should have been schooled a little bit different on who Black Americans are and who Africans are. But I mean, at the end of the day, you did what anybody else, what any Black American right now in this time would do. You know, we're sticking up for our lineage, we're delineating, and yeah, you have to confront that type of things and put it on video.
Yeah, I won't say that because other people did spaces though. I think it was Trinity or something like that. I don't know who that person is though.
He needs to shut up somewhere.
You have, I think, people like
Trinity was talking bad about you guys, to be honest, and it just pissed me
They
off.
said we were a hate group and before anything, so they're just looking for anything. You have the right to tell him he shouldn't have a sign saying anything. His fucked up ass is in this country, living in the dirt with shit and pee on his feet, talking about who should leave a country.
Do y'all think I was wrong? Because a lot of people call him elder. You should have confronted elder. Like I didn't.
Okay, here's the deal. Here's the deal, though.
Nice.
When you see those Black people being, and I'm not saying you were right or wrong because there is some parts that I did not see, but here's the deal. When you see these Black people being killed in the street, you see the white people in the comments saying, oh, well, the cop shot him. You don't know what happened before the video started. You don't know what happened. Well, it could be what maybe we don't know what happened, what the Black Vanguard was saying, what he was saying to the Black Vanguard before the video started. So we need to keep that same energy. I don't agree with attacking people for no reason, but I don't know what happened before the video started. So I can just say I don't know. So I'm not going to attack him and say he was wrong and I didn't see. And I didn't see it.
No, I didn't attack him. All I did was smack the sign from his hand, though. He jumped up.
I didn't see you attack. I didn't see you.
No, I didn't attack him at all. I was just want to confront him to see why he keep doing that, though. And then
but
I was going to help him out.
Slaves.
I was going to help
him call us slaves several times, and I didn't like that. I saw he had an accent, and I saw him pretty much calling you a slave. What made him, if he didn't know what we are, what made him start calling people slaves?
Yeah, he knew exactly what he was doing.
People say what they think. That what's in
somebody probably paid him to
subconscious. People express what's in their subconscious.
Why do we always say that these people don't know what they're doing? Why can't we just admit that these people are just horribly nasty toward us?
And they know exactly what they're doing.
That's really what it is. They know exactly.
This phone is about to die, just so you don't think I'm leaving, just in case it dies. Just because I'm gonna come back, just in case it dies.
And also, you got this person called Mama Moto or something like that, though. As threatening to say I'm gonna come to the Bay Area, beat his ass, and all that type of stuff. You know, I'm not worried about it though, because I can handle my own self though, because I'm military trained, martial arts trained, so I really ain't scared or nothing like that though. But I couldn't imagine all these Pan Africanists though that supposed to be all about black unity, but they saying all these types of disrespectful things towards me.
Yeah,
They need to be
all
checking. They need to
that.
be checking the person that say that disrespectful things. There's a whole bunch of videos and online and offline where you got the disrespectful Caribbean, African, respecting our lineage, Black Americans, Foundation, Black American Sons of Freedom, and they don't check them.
No,
They allow that. They have selective outrage though.
they really do. And here we are again with that man saying all kinds of stuff and them infantilizing him. Oh, he doesn't know what he's doing. He's homeless. He's crazy. Everything under the sun. He's gone into his shed and drew up a bunch of stuff about who should be kicked out of a country he should be kicked out
He
of.
said, I was gonna help him out though. I was gonna give him
Nope.
I was gonna give him
Nope.
food, housing, I was gonna help him out though.
Nope.
But so after he started disrespecting me and stuff, I said, no, man. Because I always help people out though.
Right, we know. We already know you're community minded. You don't have to convince me. Okay, so let's go to Rock real quick and then back over to Miko's.
Peace to the family. Sorry if the signal cut out. I hope it stays good, but I'm driving up in the North Georgia mountains. I didn't get a chance to see the Black Vanguard's post. I'll check it out as soon as I stop. But it was a lot of great topics that were touched on in the room earlier. Professor Alon had said something about he was hearing a lot of younger people in Atlanta like just dropping the N word, but different races of people. I'm from Atlanta, but I'm from, I guess what they say, I'm from old Atlanta. So I grew up in an area that was like very segregated. Like I literally know what it means when they say the white people live across the tracks. Like that's the kind of area I grew up in. And we didn't have that type of mentality growing up where anybody could just drop that word. So, you know, with Atlanta being, I guess, an international city and Hollywood moving there, it's just a lot of unruliness and degeneracy, and it's not the city that it used to be, and it's rapidly changing. I think it's like 7 or 8 Hollywood studios in Atlanta now, including one about 5 miles from my house. The point about are Geechees Nigerian? I don't know enough about Geechee culture. I hear people talking about it a lot, but I have to do my studies on that. So I'm that mea culpa. I'm behind on that. But I would say I just doubt it, just based off of what I've heard so far. Does speaking Spanish make you Spanish? So there were a couple of people that touched on this subject earlier, and they were saying like it's heavy delineation in the Latin American world. I served in the Navy. When I was in the Navy, I had an acquaintance who was Colombian, and for all intents and purposes, I just thought he was a kid from New York, from the way he spoke and the way he carried himself, until he was like, "No, I'm Colombian." So we got to talking about it, and I asked him, "Well, what about this group of people and this group of people?" And it was like I was talking to Archie Bunker. I mean, when I asked about Mexicans, he was like, "Oh, they lazy, they don't want to do nothing." I asked about Puerto Ricans, he was like, "They speak Spanglish, we don't respect that." I mean, every group of people in the Latin world, he just totally disrespect, and he meant it. It was wholehearted, it was full throated. So, you know, no, speaking Spanish doesn't make you Spanish, and they have real bad colorism, like someone else spoke on. I can't remember if it was Wilson or Black Thought, but I have been to the Yucatan Peninsula and the province of Ru Quintana. When I was in the Yucatan, Black Thought was right. They have natives who do not speak Spanish. They took us to an area where a native performed some sort of like prayer and ceremony before we went into like one of the sites that they were unearthing. and he spoke to have a translator there. But he was also a very dark man.
Do
Like,
you remember what he was speaking? He was speaking an indigenous language. That's
yeah,
wild.
yeah, he was speaking an indigenous language. I mean, I got the
Wow.
pictures of the ceremony. I don't
Oh
have
yeah,
Because I
recording
went,
of
I went to
the
I've
that
language.
been
area to see Chichen Itza, and
I,
I never met those people.
I've been over there to some of these Latin American countries like Mexico, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica. I went over there. They got this tribe like the Zapotecs, the Otomis, the Hawaiians, the Hawakins. They don't speak Spanish though. Some of them speak their indigenous language though, and then their indigenous language is totally different from Spanish though. And also the Hawakins, the Zapoteca, Otomis, the Mayans, and all them tribes over in Mexico. They treat them like they consider third, fourth class citizens over there in a lot of these Latin American countries.
Wow. What were you saying? 8410?
Uh, and also I wanted to say, as far as like saying, is the speaking Spanish make you Spanish? To me, and this is just my opinion based off of what I've seen and how I put the puzzle together so far. I believe the only thing that makes a person truly Spanish is white supremacy, because the people from these countries, they idolize and adore these conquistadors for the most part. Like, they talk about it like it's some sort of fairy tale, or like these are their great ancestors who conquered and did this and did. They don't see themselves as the progeny of the conquered. They see themselves as the conquerors. And I think that that's truly the only thing that makes a Spanish person Spanish. And, to me, at the end of the day, it's all just white supremacy. These people are white people, not the Latins in Latin America. But I mean, what
They're
they,
not, but the Spanish people live in Spain and they're just like colonial byproducts. So they're in limbo because they're not indigenous anymore and they're not white Spanish people. They're just, confused, a big confused mess. So they're
when you,
just about as Spanish as we are English. So they have different amounts of Spanish admixture, and we have about 24% English admixture, but we never call ourselves English, but they run around calling themselves Spanish.
oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I just think that they lost the plot when it comes to that. I don't think that they really see themselves the way that the Spaniards see them, or the Portuguese, or anyone else. So
Right.
I land my plane there. Let y'all finish cooking.
Now, we don't ever hear the Brazilians saying that they're Portuguese. Have you noticed that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, you don't hear that. But I believe I could be wrong. I believe that the Brazilian experience, I know that is not similar to ours, because you have these varying grades of colorism, but I believe it was more of a realistic experience than it is. I don't know what's making these Latin Americans feel. Oh, well, there has been a real effort to, like someone said earlier about La Raza, there has been a real effort to really whiten some of these countries. Like, I think I saw a documentary where they were talking about Argentina, where they like imported whites. Oh,
They're
another
not
thing I
even
saw.
indigenous. Yeah, they're not indigenous. They're Europeans.
Another thing I saw in Mexico that blew my mind. They have signs in German or Dutch in some parts of Mexico, and I was like, "This is."
Do they have a colony over there or something?
It had to be. But this is when we were on. This was when we were in the Yucatan Peninsula. So we went from Quintana Roo to the Yucatan. It was like a 4-hour drive. It was some sort of excursion that we planned. But yes, it blew my mind. I immediately had to go back and look. But I'm saying that because to me it ties into, like you said, there are not a lot of indigenous in certain countries in Latin America because they've imported Europeans over to try to whiten
Yeah,
that
there's
place
a
up.
bunch of Italians over there. There's some Germans that went after the war in Argentina. Most of their population is Italian. They have like 2% indigenous genetics in their DNA profile, so they don't have anything but remnants. Now in Uruguay, they say they have zero indigenous and that they're all Europeans. I forget where they come from, but yeah, these places just don't have anyone. That's why Paraguay was talking about giving people land, trying to get people to come over there.
I heard they said that that's like one of the number one destinations for Europeans. And also, this is vaguely related, but I heard a broadcast from TVA, and he was saying that a lot of the Mexicans or Latins that come here, but I believe he was speaking specifically about Mexicans in this instance. He said that they know English. I didn't. I find that to be mostly true. I didn't have a problem in Mexico finding people that spoke English. Like everyone we did business with spoke English.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't, there was no real issue with finding people that speak English. Yet when they come here, is no habla inglés. So
You're right. I didn't have a problem either. Um, Go ahead, housing.
Oh, I'm here. I I lost my train of thought because I had to take care. I had to take care of a call. I'll get back on later. We still here.
Okay.
Oh, Wani, I got it now. Wani,
Okay. Go
I
ahead.
want to move off script. If it's okay.
Yes.
The two the two congresswomen, the bald-headed one, and it's another one. Did you? I know you seen.
Yep.
Break that down, Wani, from your perspective.
Well, there's a room about it. I was in Lou Fack's room, and they're introducing a bill because they want to look like they're doing something for us. It's going to fail because Republicans are in charge of all the houses. Plus, it's probably a nothing burger anyway. Even if the Republicans said yes, it probably would be garbage because Republicans, Democrats, they are just trying to save face. They really lost us. People are really not interested in them, not even looking at them. They're doing anything and everything to get us to turn back around and look. But you should have done that when you had full control of the government. You
Both
see,
houses.
they had everything. And they chose to play games. They chose to kick us in the teeth in California. And it was controlled opposition all the way. And so now they're over here talking about pushing a bill through. And that's really just playing games with us. It's even worse than not mentioning reparations, using it
Did you
as a football.
crocodile tears too, Wani?
Hmm?
Did you notice the crocodile tears they was performing on
There's
stage?
nothing they can do. They are absolute beast animals. They do not mean us any good. They just don't. There's nothing, I can't help it. I wish I was wrong. They're using this as a political football so that they could, oh, look, we're doing something. It's those mean Republicans. They're not going to help you. You know what? They're just really low down individuals playing around with our whole history like it's a game. They know they don't want to do anything and they know that this is not the right approach for what we're doing, and they're just trying to make noise because they know they've lost us. They've lost our hearts, bodies, and souls. People are just drifting further and further away and they have nothing to say. The spell is wearing off. The people that keep voting, these women that keep talking shit, these septum ring people, they're embarrassing. I feel embarrassed for them. Black women just sitting up there pushing this. They should be ashamed of themselves. I hope they're not mothers. This is our opportunity to get drag queens out of the classroom. This is our opportunity to not have to talk about pronouns. The Democrats have done institutionalized pedophilia, institutionalized child abuse, stopping people's puberty, cutting people's breasts off, putting men and women's sports. They have done catastrophe against us. And we just don't believe it. People are oblivious to it because why wouldn't they be? Wouldn't you not expect that to happen? Oh, yeah, that's my take.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Stacy.
Hey, Wani. Hi, Nikki. Hi, Professor. How y'all doing?
Peace. Peace.
I just got off work. So, anyway, and it's raining out here. You know what? I heard somebody, you guys were talking about people, the whole no speak English when they get over here. Do you know, I actually knew a girl who told me, she's Mexican, told me about, she said they actually tell them to say that. They said if it comes to like something that, like when the police stop you or if you do something or whatever, they said, just tell them you don't speak English. And I looked at her and I thought, why am I not surprised about that? Like, really? Yeah, you know what? That doesn't surprise me. And it was funny because I said, I always knew that they could speak English because, I mean, yeah, I've been down to Mexico, but not only that, I used to work at a grocery store. And one minute they acting like they don't understand you when you're trying to tell them something. But as soon as you shortchange them a penny, all of a sudden they can speak some English. It's like, oh, you understand that now. You can speak English real good now when you wonder where your money at. And you know what? I might be late on this. Maybe you guys have already put it together or you already know. But I was just thinking, because, we do. One of the things I've learned from you guys is more thinking outside the box when it comes to this situation, like as far as deep thinking about stuff in the big picture. And I thought, I know we're everybody's like, I don't feel sorry for them. They don't ride for us. They this and that or whatever. But you know why I don't feel sorry for them? Because they're trying to act like they don't have nowhere to go. And I think that is a like they're lying. They're trying to play on people's emotions. Like, no, I'm not gonna attend your pity party because and they're, the whole crying and acting like someone are separating people from their kids and they're on there crying and they're on there upset. And I'm like, no, you guys have somewhere to go. Because when y'all left families behind. You have somewhere to go. How long have you been up here? Taking our resources, earning money, putting up your taco trucks, building your restaurants, driving your nice cars. Y'all have money. Okay, here's the other thing. When criminals, you know how criminals commit crimes and then they run and they're felons and they're running from the law. Where do they go? They cross the border. So obviously they know they can go to Mexico and make a living. They're they're on the run. How many people have that I've run into that make a decent living and they take vacations to Mexico. The prices are good. They talk about how cheap stuff is. I've known people saying they're going to buy a vacation home in Mexico when they retire. You trying to tell me that when you get kicked out of the United States, you won't be able to afford a home out there? If y'all have a place to live out here?
I mean, do they want to swap continents? Because they got better weather.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not buying none of that bullshit.
South America has better weather than us.
Right. But here, the thing is, what they're crying about is the freedom to come and go as they please. Because don't act like they don't go cross the border to go party or cross the border to get their cheap medications or cross the border to go get cheap surgeries, or they do it all the time. They go back and forth all the time. And I'm like, and now you're crying. No, you're crying because You want your freedom, you want your privilege, and then they sending money. If you're sending money, so you don't act like you don't have nowhere to go because you got family that you left behind that you're sending money to. You got your place all cushy. You're just mad because you ain't gonna be able to come back as you please, come back
Right.
when you feel like it. And you're in that this little privilege is being taken away from you. So yeah, all that little crying and stuff and words about people. No, we not helping y'all. Hell no.
And like I
So
said, if they want to swap out, because most of this country has 4 seasons, and Mexico is still North America, but it has better weather. And if you go to South America, it has better weather than our country. So if they want to come up here, we can swap it out. Everybody ready?
And then it's like, right. And then it's like, why are you crying? They speak your language. You going somewhere that still that speaks the language you speak.
Comfortable.
And how the hell you got the nerve to come up here? There are some schools that are making kids learn Spanish and or be bilingual. You got jobs that are like, oh, you get paid more if you're bilingual, or they require you to be bilingual in order to get hired. Up here in the United States, are you serious? Will we all speak English? Why should we be forced to have to speak your language?
Their way of excluding us from those jobs.
Exactly. And you go to some of these places where Mexicans work, or they don't hire no black. I worked at a job. And then they talk about they work hard. No, they don't. Once they get Americanized up here in their mindset or get comfortable, oh, they lazy as hell. They're always looking for shortcuts.
Let me pick back on that too. It's two.
Let me finish my thought. I'm so sorry. But no, I'm gonna try to land real quick so you can jump in. Experience real quick. I had started this new job, trained with this girl, and I ended up getting a call, and it was a Mexican girl, and a lot of people in that department were Mexican, and I get this call, and this lady on the other line, and she's like, "Oh, I was told to call back. I need to speak with so and so." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, let me find her." I go looking for her. This heifer been on her break already for like 10 minutes. I go find her, and one of the people she was talking to was a lead. And I said, she was like, "What do you need?" She goes, "You need something?" And I go, "Oh yeah, I have a lady on the phone. She's looking for so and so." She said that she was told to call her back once she got the information she needed. And she goes, "Well, can you just take the call?" I told her, look, I'm off in like 5 minutes. And she's asking for her. Well, she's on her break, so you'll have to finish the call. So I go to finish the call. I'm on this call for another 30 minutes. Now I'm stuck overtime. And I get up. I finally log off to work after I'm done. I had to restart everything all over. This lady already has this information. So when I get back on the phone, she goes, "So you mean I have to tell you everything all over again, starting from the beginning?" And I was like, "Unfortunately, ma'am, yeah." So I go back when I finally log off and get ready to go home. This bitch is still talking in this little group of all her little friends on their break. I was like, and I've seen too many instances where they are always looking for shortcuts. So when people tell me that they work hard, no, they're lazy as hell too. Once they think they got it in the door and they set, they're please. So housing, I think you were going to piggyback off of that. Yeah. Go for it.
It's a couple of reasons why, they run up here. But one of them is that the dominant societies in those countries treat them like shit. Most of them that come up here are the short one, the mestinos. Is that, I'm pronouncing it right, Wani?
Mosquitoes or something?
Yeah, the mosquitoes.
Why does it sound like mosquitoes?
All right.
I was just going to say mosquitoes, and they bug the hell out of you.
Just like mosquitoes.
Yeah. Say mosquitoes. And another reason why they run up here is because they got the word. It's free up here. Free medical, free everything. They don't get nothing in those countries. They get nothing. And they come up here because, as Tyreek said, they wasn't popping down there. They wasn't doing nothing. So they run up here. And also,
steal from us Americans, take their ass back and get it popping down there. And they can speak this language they want. Yeah, because see why? They're lazy. They just don't want to do the work.
They took over all the neighborhoods and blocked everybody out.
Yes, they're going to get treated like crap. The dominant society down there treat them like crap.
Set up their little criminal organizations. That's part of the reason they don't want us in the neighborhoods, because they commit crime and they don't want outsiders calling the police or doing something like that. That's part of the reason. Besides being anti-Black.
Yes.
Okay, to Earth.
Hey, Wani. Hi, Professor. Hi, Nikki the God. Another thing I want to point out about these lazy ass fucking Mexicans is they are the main ones that apply for workman's comp on a job. At FedEx, where I was at, they was the ones on disability, light duty. That's all they do is fucking drain and scam the fucking system. I'm sick of these motherfuckers. And then my daughter, she had to go to the hospital. That's all was in the hospital. Man, I'm so fucking pissed off. It wasn't no beds available because all they stinking asses was in the hospitals. We got to get these motherfuckers out of our country. They are a strain on our system and everything, and they don't bring shit of value to our country. The roads is fucked up. Like, how the fuck are you working on the roads and they fucked up more now than they was before? Get that shit out of here, man. That's all I wanted to say.
Well, that was a
You're right about them roads. Our fucking potholes out here are ridiculous. I thought I might have jacked up my car the other day.
Maybe they're working with the tire people.
I said the same thing, I swear to God, because that's who own the tire companies out here. And I said, I believe they working some type of scam with these people.
Yep, just like the dentist giving us big lollipops and we didn't even notice. Now, who to Black? Did you want to go?
How everybody doing? What's going on, Professor Nikki? One. It's like that. I never understood why the dentist did give you a lollipop after. That is contradicting.
Well, my dentist always gave us the sugar.
Big face-sized ones. I was licking that thing for 4 weeks.
Okay, you got the Willy Wonka lollipop.
I sure did.
Yeah.
I think he gave out lollipops because the children were crying and they didn't want to be there. Yeah. So he had to bribe them with something and he had to follow through on what he promised.
Okay, and some of a reason to bring your ass back too, so I can charge. But I want to add to what Harrison just included when it comes down to like the mestizos, knowing that these people, like, they don't care how you say things and they word things how they want. When it comes down to like the meaning of maroon and Marano, sometimes they are interchangeable depending on the regional dialect. Do you think like that was a way that they used to like blend in people during that time of like the conquistadors and the time they was kicking people out of Spain during the Inquisition?
They say that again?
Like with like the way they was naming people during the time of they was kicking people out of Spain, kicking the Moors out, and during the same time Christopher Columbus was coming over here and they was somewhat marooned, or they had some maroons with them. It did like maroon being in the American dialect meaning like a runaway or a Seminole, another word for a Seminole. Do you think like they use that as a first kind of like way of strategically misnomering people like they do us now?
I don't know. I have to think about that.
Cause I asked that because when you use like when you learn words in different dialects and especially when it comes down to regional dialects like African, I had heard from this one scholar. I still can't find the video, but he was equating like the meaning of African and free in the French language, because the word of emancipation in French mean enfranchi, and knowing that these people like play word games and mental word games at that, like, and when the French free some of their slaves, they used to call them enfranchi colored, and they equated it to free people of color in some regions in documents.
Interesting.
So yeah, I did a video about it, and because it always reminded me of the movie Amistad, when when the African stood up on the stand and he said set a free. And then ever since then it always like equated to like knowing saying an African in my head sometimes, and knowing that like Europeans came over and they, even though they couldn't say the words exactly how the native said it, they kept it a way that they could say it in to each other when they spoke to each other. They kept a variation of it, and then
Right.
later on through time we changed the words and we still use them, but they become different meanings.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that a Murano and a maroon is somewhat interchangeable sometimes as a color in a runaway.
I wondered if maroon meant they were dark red.
I know it used to be like a dark brown.
Yeah, reddish brown.
Well, here in the city, Wani, they got different names, like they use Moreno and Morena. That means, like, I be asking Dominicans what it is. They said, oh, that's black.
Yeah.
Or the
Yeah,
word
and knowing that
Colo.
the
Or the word Colo, black.
yeah, knowing that the Portuguese had they used like a seafaring, a trade language. They interchange language like we do the English language, and they really wasn't a race of people. It just remind me how America does they global politics. Like English is not the standard language, but it is, but it ain't. Kind of like what I mean. I don't know how to like just say it in a super educated way.
Our official language. Yeah, we don't have an official language. We need to have one. But we need to not have to listen to all this. If you speak Vietnamese, blah, blah, blah. No. You ready, original blood?
Yes, thank you very much. How's everybody doing this morning? Grand Rising.
Good.
Yes,
Peace.
greeting. Listen, I put something in the purple pill. I heard y'all talking about these Stankinos, and this is an article I kind of I had to kind of put it together. But this is I got most of the article in there, but this is an article from 2007 when they were conducting an ethnic cleansing campaign on Black Americans out there in Los Angeles, particularly down there in Harbor City off the 110. Now, this one guy, he killed this black guy because a black man beat a Mexican in a boxing match. These people are savages. And then they murdered an 11-year-old baby girl, for just no reason. But see, their leadership stayed silent. Now, see, and I want everybody to clip that article I put in a digital format. So when you see them out there saying, why aren't black people helping us? Y'all didn't help us, and we all saw what went down at the LA City Council. when they were scheming and scamming, trying to reduce the voting power of black Americans. Yeah, like the sister said earlier, we got to get these people up out of here. I don't care how they leave, but they need to go. But unfortunately, we have some sick people. A lot of these Democrats tend to want to think that we can work with them. You can't work with people that hate you. It'll never work. You know, you got the people like that weave-headed witch, Jasmine Crockett. She's so sick. She has put on her website, you go to her website and look under her issues or whatever they call it. She has combined civil rights with gay rights. And see in the way they've done this stuff, the way they got these people over here like this, they use our pain and suffering. They will always attach them to our pain and suffering to try to give them some validity. But see, now they're upset because people like us, they're either holding spaces like this or we're in spaces like this where we can effectively communicate with one another. But I just want to share that with everybody so that people can have that, because they keep running around here asking the question, why aren't Black Americans standing with them? You didn't stand when your people were attacking our people. You did not stand with us. You stayed silent. And that's what I think it was the guy named Maddox that wrote the article. But see, that's what's going on. And I just want to share that so that you all could have something that you could post and give it to them when they start whining about we're not helping them and blah, blah, blah. Well, we're giving you the same thing you gave us in our land.
Thank you. That's very true.
Yeah, Ronnie,
They have not.
Can I add to what OG was saying? No, we ain't.
Yeah.
We ain't standing with them. How we gonna stand with somebody, right? They it was a lady and her daughter staying in some I don't know if it was some low income housing, right? But it was in their community. Them